Hello, dear friends. Right now we considered our topic dealt with myth about nuclear energy and the nuclear power plants project. And of course, we'll consider a different type of source, electrical energy, and one of the important of them, this is a nuclear power plants. Many people scared nuclear technology because he or she don't really understand how work nuclear reactor. But any case, every morning when we wake up and we see one of the biggest reactor in the world, this is our sun. And of course, we really every morning see our sun. And we really not scared this nuclear reactor because we understand and our planet Earth protect our from possibility dangerous impact factors from the sun. But many of you maybe don't know, but we have a first nuclear reactor in the world whose exploitation in one of the Africa countries, Gabon, approximately 1.5 million years ago. And that was a nature nuclear reactor which worked due to nature effect. That time we had a cave with uranium-235, and that time enrichment nature uranium and isotope uranium-235 was approximately 1.4% isotope uranium-235. And when cave was empty, and that nuclear reactor doesn't work. But when we had a rain, that cave full water, and water work like moderator. Elements slow down neutrons. And if we have a slow down neutrons, thermal neutrons, that neutrons give for us opportunity increase chain reaction between neutrons and isotope uranium-235. And that nuclear reactor start work. Water boiling, water evaporate, and the nuclear reactor stop without moderator, without light water. Nowadays, scientists found that cave and understand so long years ago in that region, Gabon, Oklo city, work on nature reactor. What do you think? What common between Oklo and Obninsk city? And of course, in Obninsk city, this is my favorite city because I live in Obninsk. And Obninsk, we started exploitation first nuclear power plant in the world. And it means Oklo and Obninsk so close because Oklo and the previous 1.5 million ago have a first nuclear reactor in the world, and Obninsk city started exploitation in 1954, first nuclear power plant in the world. And right now in our first nuclear power plant in the world, this is a work like museum, and we invite many of our visitors, friends in our first nuclear power plant in the world. And we locate nearby in Moscow, only approximately 1.5 drive by car from each international airport, which location around the Moscow. And our city work one of the famous institute, this is the Physics Energy Institute, where location first nuclear power plant in the world. How work nuclear power plant? In this picture you see principal scheme include only simple huge equipment from first socket and second socket. And this picture you see a reactor building, and inside a reactor building we have equipment first socket. This is a reactor, pressurizer, main circulation pumps, and steam generator. Inside steam generator we produce steam. After that steam transfer to turbine, steam rotation turbine and the generator. Generator produces electricity, and after that we spend electricity for our home, factories, and so on. We have a lot of myth around the nuclear technology, around the nuclear power plants. And right now we consider it several of them. One of them, myth, dealt with disease. Many people think about if we live nearby the nuclear power plants or any nuclear industry objects, we have a not so good health. But this is not a real situation, because when we stay close and not have an impact effect from nature or radiation, we not have a good health dealt with, protect ourselves from possibility nature radiation impact. But if we check our health, and during the check our health we apply nuclear technology to, we support our health. In this picture you see how looks like, and many outside impacts in our body, and you see food, cosmic, soil, radon have a so huge impact radiation factor to our body. But if we compare it with impact effect from nuclear power plants, and for example from Chernobyl nuclear power plants accident and another, you see in the slide it's not so huge number of irradiation in our body, transfer from possibility artificial source of radiation materials. Next myth dealt with seismic hazards. Many of you heard about nuclear power plants Fukushima Daiichi. And that was one of the biggest tragedy in the nuclear sphere. It's 2011. We had an accident in Fukushima Daiichi number 1. Exactly 4 units in Fukushima Daiichi from 1 until 4 were destroyed because of earthquake and tsunami. And after that, after the Fukushima Daiichi accident, we in our Russian Federation and another country, we reconsider question dealt with protection nuclear power plants from possibility hazards dealt with in the earthquake. And now moment all nuclear power plants work successfully. Next potential hazard dealt with marine ecosystems. And many people think about if we construction nuclear power plants nearby the ocean, rivers, maybe huge lake, we do something bad with water which we catch from the ocean, and that water we apply for the condensator, and after that we drop water to the nature. And exactly this water not irradiation. And we let it be increase in the temperature water nearby the beachway location nuclear power plants, approximately 1 or maybe 1.5 degrees Celsius. But this temperature give for us opportunity increase number of the fish nearby the nuclear power plants, because fish won't eat the food. And exactly we have a huge number of the food nearby the place with a huge temperature of the water. Next myth dealt with using the different technology nuclear power plants, and I think you heard about different generation nuclear power plants. And exactly, and nowadays we had a nuclear power plants generation number 1, 2, 3, and 3+. And many of the generation 1 nuclear power plants and generation 2 decommissioned right now. And right now we exploitation the biggest part of generation 3 and generation 3+ technology. What is mean this technology, and how we divide by nuclear power plants for different generation. Like rules, and the oldest nuclear power plants which we construction before the 3 Mile Island accident in 1979, it's nuclear power plants generation number 1. After the first huge tragedy in history, peaceful nuclear technology, in the 3 Mile Island accident in 1979, after that international specialists, reconsideration question dealt with protection nuclear power plants from possibility potential hazards. And many of the nuclear power plants which we construction and design after the 3 Mile Island accident, it's generation number 1. After that, unfortunately, we have another huge strategy. This is a Chernobyl nuclear power plant's disaster in 1986. This is a generation 3 technology. And after the Fukushima Daiichi accident in the 2011 until our day, we design and construction nuclear power plants generation 3+, and this is a modern nuclear technology. And Russian Federation was the first country in the world in 2018 start exploitation first nuclear power plants with nuclear reactor VVR 1200 generation 3+. Next myth dealt with the tourism, and many of the people scared about if we start exploitation nuclear power plants in the one of the region in our planet and nearby the ocean, we lost many of the people who want to go in this region on vacation, for example. But in a real situation, when we start exploitation nuclear power plants, it's increased quality of the life, increase electricity and the conditioned air system, and increase attractive this region for people who want to stay here for vacation, for spend time during 1 week, 2 weeks. And this slide including the good example dealt with the tourism region for different region in France, Spain, and Great Britain. You see this picture and a lot of nuclear object and nuclear power plants and the facility with nuclear fissile material spread in the huge region France, Spain, Great Britain, and exactly people not scared stay nearby the nuclear objects, and it's everything okay, and please not scare, relax nearby the nuclear power plants. Agriculture, and one of the myths dealt with, and if we start exploitation nuclear technology and nuclear power plants, we decrease number of the food which we produce in this region. But in the real situation, we save the food due to the nuclear industry, due to the technology dealt with in the radiation food. And exactly, and we start radiation food since 1916. Exactly in our day, more than 69 countries use radiation technology for save the food, and that technology support many countries for possibility save the food and transfer food in another region. And exactly this is our modern nuclear technology. Next myth dealt with in the workplaces, and that myth including the next information from people who not really understand what is mean nuclear technology. And think about if we start construction nuclear power plants, and many of the specialists go away from this region, but it is not a really situation, because when we start construction nuclear power plants or exploitation nuclear power plants, for one worker who work in nuclear power plants, invite another specialist and another staff who support lifetime worker exploitation nuclear power plants, construction nuclear power plants, and exactly one staff gave for us approximately more than 15 worker place in the different areas around the nuclear power plants. Next slide dealt with in the myth alternative source of the energy, and many people think about if we apply only primary source of energy and the solar energy, gas energy, wind powers will be enough for us, but it's not really true, because only nuclear power plants give for us equal level of electrical power, and exactly during the day, night, and the different seasons, we have opportunity change electrical power inside grid in our country due to another source of energy, because it's not a really change power nuclear reactor during the day. Exactly, nuclear reactor work in the nominal power of the level during 1 year or 18 months, and nowadays we consider it work in nuclear power plants during 2 years without stop. And exactly nuclear reactor and nuclear power plants, this is a source of green energy, not produce different pollution, not drop around the nuclear power plants different gases, for example. Next 5 slides will include information about different source of the primary energy, and one of them, this is wind energy, and have a plus and minus parameter. And one of the interesting example, I remember approximately 5 years ago, nearby the Great Britain, we have not absolutely wind during the 4 or 5 months, and Great Britain bought a lot of part of electricity from the France. And the solar power station. Many people think about we only using the solar panel and produce electrical energy and it's enough, but it's not really true, because we spent a lot of electricity for manufacturing solar panel. After that, decommissioning and stored energy in battery. And the battery is so dangerous, of course. And we make a lot of pollution in the area dealt with in the solar power station. Next, this is a hydropower station, and one of the cheapest way produce electricity. And unfortunately, we float in huge area. The water not possible applies that region for green growth and for calves, and not produce any elements and for people in that region and another. Next, this is a thermal hydropower station, and exactly one of the minus parameter situation dealt with in that part of the station. This is a place where location. And exactly we should apply seismic region for building hydrothermal power station. And sometimes it's so dangerous because we have a lot of earthquake in that region. Hydrogen energy. Hydrogen energy, we only buy gas, rotation turbine, produce electricity, and we have a lot of plus parameter here, but this is a expensive technology for countries who own natural gas. Alternative energy, in this slide, it's combined information about how many electrical power produced due to only one piece of uranium, and we should spend approximately 70 tons coal and 140 tons wood for produce the same energy. And you see in the right part of this slides a region and which we should apply for produce electricity for nuclear power plants, small piece of part lands, and for solar power station, wind station, and hydropower station. We should float in a lot of area. Our lands fill the water. Next, ecology. Ecology, one of the key question, and many people thought about one of the incredible myths of nuclear power plants, pollution area around nuclear power plants. And you see here one of the towers, some of them set above. This is a cooling tower, and another give explanation about this is a tower produce pollution, not. And you see in the real situation, It's only steam under the cooling tower and not really another dangerous gases. And in that slide, you see how many ton of carbon dioxide produced after the burn 1 ton of the coil and 2.76 ton of carbon dioxide, and nature gas drop around the nature 1.62 tons carbon dioxide and another different various gases. And during nuclear power plants, not absolutely produce different dangerous gases, absolutely zero. And one of the last slide here dealt with information nuclear power plants, location nearby territory which looks like a nature reserve in this region. And for example, Kolskaya nuclear power plants, Novovoronezhskaya nuclear power plants, and Leningradskaya nuclear power plant. This is a real picture with beautiful animals, beautiful nature, location nearby the nuclear power plants. And like rules, nuclear power plants support of the question safe nature. That's all, dear friends. Thank you very much for your attention. Goodbye.